Hey, we are two Star Wars nerds, and today we are talking about Boba Fett.
Your favorite.
In Empire Strikes Back. Absolutely my favorite character in all of Star Wars, and in my favorite movie in all of Star Wars. This is such a treat.
This is special for you.
But the reason we wanted to do this is because you hear, maybe you don't hear this a lot, but I've heard enough people say Boba Fett's my favorite character, because I'm in that camp. But when you really look at it objectively, you're like, why? Boba Fett doesn't do all that much to warrant being a favorite. And, I mean, granted, I love Boba Fett. But when you look at, like, Luke and Han and Chewie and Leia and Darth Vader, and, I mean, even if you look at, like, Tarkin, you know, and Emperor Palpatine and, you know, Darth Sidious, all this stuff, it's like Boba Fett kind of plays like a background character role. He does stuff, but he's a minor character. And so what we want to do is just kind of talk about a few things. His unique role, I guess, in Empire Strikes Back, why he was my personal favorite, and really kind of the impact he had on Star Wars. The best we know how. We're going to try and keep it limited to Empire Strikes Back.
Which is hard.
It is very hard to do. But for all of you Boba fans, let us know in the comments already if you love Boba Fett, because this is such a fun topic for me. So, getting things started, why don't you just take us away with Boba Fett in Empire Strikes Back?
I think the first time we see him in Empire Strikes Back is when Vader has all the bounty hunters. Is that correct? Okay, so you see Bosk, and you see, you see
like the IG droid.
The IG droid, yeah. So you see him there, and I don't know, just kind of even when I see him, I'm like, he like commands like respect, like just his suit. It's so intimidating, and I think that's part of it. You're like, this guy's like the real deal, and even Vader has that disintegration. Yeah,
no disintegrations. Well, I that's so part of why I like Boba is that very thing, the suit. That adds an incredible layer of mystery.
Yeah.
You don't know
who's in there,
what he's thinking. You can't read him at all. He's just standing there strong. And
like head up, chest up.
And you know he's one of the best bounty hunters in the galaxy because Darth Vader hired him.
Right. And
specifically, Darth Vader says no disintegrations. So you're like, what is that about? Like,
but he has a reputation that Darth Vader knows.
Yeah. And so I didn't mean to like just jump in there, but
that's important.
For me, that's part of why I like Boba too, is that first scene. You see him, you're like, that's crazy.
Yeah. So we see him there, and then all the bounty hunters go out, and Boba's smart because he knows, because the Millennium Falcon, is hanging out, and they're waiting to be dumped with the trash so that they're not picked up on the scanners, trying to hide from the Empire. And somehow Boba Fett was there too, because all of a sudden you see the Slave One get thrown out, or Boba's starship, or the Slave One.
Slave One.
Yeah, Slave
it will
One.
Always be Slave One.
Yeah, okay. We see Slave One go out with the Millennium Falcon, and I'm like, oh, how did he even know? Like, was that I was thinking that last night when we were watching. I'm like, was that a coincidence, or did he know?
So, I mean, it depends. If you're looking at just Empire Strikes Back in 1980, it's just because he's the best bounty hunter. I think if you trail it back to like all of the additional content, I mean, he saw how Obi-Wan like basically bested his dad and, tracked him down. And so I'm sure he's aware of these tactics of keeping engines and electronics off.
That's true. Because the ship just disappeared, so he knew something.
It's like this is the last known location.
Right.
All the other bounty hunters presumably go their own direction. He's like, I'm gonna stay back, and I'm gonna wait.
So you see him following them, and it seems somehow he gets to Cloud City first, based off the conversation with Vader, because they're or with Lando.
Yeah, him and Vader are there in Cloud City before.
Bespin.
Yep. And and what's even interesting about that, I was talking about somebody with it in the comments on our Darth Vader video, But it's like that scene that at the dinner table, if you will, in that dinner hall with Vader.
So awesome.
It is, because think
He's
about
just sitting at the head of the table.
The
and
theatrics.
Boba's right there, like.
Because what's so funny
they're sending a message
about
of,
that scene to me is like
authority.
Yeah, and I think it's hilarious that Darth Vader probably was like, "Hey, I'm gonna wait here," and who knows how long they waited. But he's like, "I'm gonna wait here. I want you to go around the corner, and I'm gonna say this line. Like, we would be honored if you would join us."
And then you come out.
And then you come out, and we're gonna scare the pants off of them. It's gonna be awesome. It's probably not how it went down, but it's very theatric, and it was not natural. It's like, okay, that was the shock and awe planned.
Right.
But what's cool about all of this is this is how good Boba is. Okay, so not to get off of Empire Strikes Back, but you're talking about the first time we see Boba in canon is really Empire Strikes Back.
Well,
you could say the holiday special.
Canon?
No.
Is it canon?
No.
Okay, so this is the first canon appearance.
I think now with Disney they made that portion canon.
Oh, just
or
that
maybe
part?
I don't know what they consider, if they consider it Legends. But that little thing with Boba.
He's live action for the first time, at least.
Yeah, he's live action for the first time in Empire Strikes Back. But then, with the special edition scenes in A New Hope, you see him there. And some people like it, some people don't. But irregardless, you have Boba, who his sole mission is to find Luke. And he finds Luke. But then, at the same time, what he's doing is he is finding Han at the same time. So it's like he's taking care of that bounty. He's drawing Luke out into a trap. There's all of this stuff at play where he's fulfilling a lot. And he's the one who gets to bring Han back to Jabba.
Yep.
And even the scene where he's walking with Han and Frozen in carbonite, and Han's just gliding behind him, like
he's feeling good.
Oh yeah, and just even the way like in the hallways when when they're trying to get to him, and the way he just turns and fights, like it. So much about him in Empire Strikes Back is so cool.
I think what's important too is he's maybe in 5 minutes total of Empire Strikes
probably.
Back. So rough estimate of 5 minutes, and he doesn't do much, but what he does do is so integral to the storyline. And I think that's why, because of how he did it, how slick he did it, just his, I guess, the way he did it, how he figured it out, like he did it right off the bat. It didn't take him much time. Like, he was very successful. So you see that, a beloved character, Han, and like we talked about in our last video, when Empire Strikes Back came out and ended, you didn't know where the story was going. Like, there wasn't Return of the Jedi. You didn't know that Han was going to be okay. So I think that like he had a small part, but it was actually a very important and integral part to the story.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's why even in that little amount of time, he made such a big impact on the galaxy.
Absolutely. That's what's so fascinating about Star Wars is these minor characters play huge roles. Like, they don't have a lot of screen time, but they do shift things, and they move the narrative in major ways. They have their own motivations. They're not MacGuffins. They're not just these random pawns brought in. It makes sense in the galaxy. And for me, with Boba, like, as a kid, I remember like seeing him in Empire Strikes Back, and obviously I was born in 92, so once I saw Empire Strikes Back, my dad's taking me right on to Return of the Jedi.
We didn't have to wait,
so thankfully I didn't have to wait as a kid. But I don't know how old I was, maybe 5 or 6 years old, watching this stuff. I loved Boba Fett. I hated how he died. I mean, now he's back and bigger than ever, but for me, like, I remember I had like a Slave One toy, you know, and it had Boba and it had Han and Carbonite, and I would play with that thing all the time, you know, and I had like little Boba masks and Boba shirts and all this stuff. And I don't know, for me, there is something about the mystery, the poker face, like the man behind the mask. You don't know what's going on, and he's a man of few words.
Yeah.
So Boba could be an idiot for all we know, but it's like his intentional speech makes him come off extremely wise. But then you see he's cunning, and he's not dumb. He's not just silent for being silent.
He's very smart.
He is a skilled bounty hunter and lives up to his reputation. And the older I get, I like him more, because I'm like, okay, was he just a cool looking character, or is he a cool character?
Both.
And exactly, he's both. Because what's cool to me is the Empire couldn't do something, Darth Vader couldn't do something, so he hired Boba to fulfill that.
Well, he hired multiple bounty hunters, and Boba was the one.
And you have Jabba, a crime lord, hiring Boba, and then you have the Rebellion, which is really afraid of Boba. And so you have this like rogue bounty hunter who is legitimately feared and is deserving of that, because he just, like, whenever he shows up, he runs whatever room he's in, he runs whatever city he's in, and like no one and nothing can come close to him in terms of executing bounties.
And what's crazy is, again, this is just based off Empire Strikes Back. Like, if we were to go back even to the prequels and see him as a child, or go into Return of the Jedi or Mandalorian time period, like, there's so much more. Like, this integral part, and like how this character came to be was from this like 5 minutes. He's so iconic that we've continued to get stories, and I mean, it's awesome. It's good storytelling with good character development that you see this character in barely any time, yet people are drawn to him. People fall in love with him. People are like Boba Fett sweaties. Like my dad, his favorite character is Boba Fett too.
That got me brownie points for sure.
I remember that. But so many people love Boba Fett, and it's because I think he is a man of few words, and it was intentional, and he had an integral part. He was BA. I mean, he's awesome.
He is, and you know, I know that there's a lot of great books about Boba that I'm gonna read, but the impact that he had on me, even from Empire Strikes Back, like I was just telling you today, like I want to get the Boba Fett omnibus, and I want to get this very expensive, book, basically compiling all of these things about Boba and all these awesome comics and what have you. And I'm thinking, like, all of the merchandising and all the stuff that comes from a character that doesn't do too much. He's kind of like the Lone Ranger, like a very cool and mysterious gunslinger. And he's awesome. But
and your favorite shirt, you wear it all year round. It's a Boba Fett Christmas shirt, but
I should have wore it.
You'll see him in it at any month.
Oh yeah, it's there's Han Solo and Carbonite, and then there's Boba Fett, but he's holding like a candy cane gun.
And I think Han Solo has a bow on it.
Yeah, he does have a bow wrapped around him. It's pretty cool. It's super cool. I love that shirt.
I know.
Actually, I want to get a Boba Fett helmet too. Yeah, that would be cool.
That would be cool.
I'll wear it around. I'll wear it around town. Yep. Okay. Anyway, so with that, let us know in the comments if you like Boba Fett. I mean, who doesn't like Boba Fett? But if you like Boba Fett, particularly in Empire Strikes Back, let us know in the comments. We also have a Discord. Man, if you want to talk more about Star Wars, even with us personally, like if you just want to chat with us about Star Wars, hop in our Discord. The link's in the description. It's a lot of fun in there. But with that, we are two Star Wars nerds, and may the Force be with you always.